The tests we've seen around the country from doctors are showing that almost 45,000 people that got these vaccinations were dead in 72 hours. Women who are concerned about being pregnant or getting pregnant are looking at this vaccine, and no one really knows, other than the fact that you can still get the virus if you're vaccinated. You can still spread the virus if you're vaccinated. It is now spread not only to unions, to public schools, to private schools, workers all over the state that can't support their families because the governor mandates you're getting inoculated or you're getting fired. With influenza, when they found 53 deaths as a result of the vaccine, they suspended the vaccine. We can show 45,000 deaths in 72 hours from this vaccine. You have companies making $1 billion plus a month. The pressure they put on the FDA to endorse these vaccines is unbelievable. I think they'd rather pay people for the deaths of their family members than stop making the $1 billion a month. So we're going to go through now the plan, what we're filing, who we're filing for, and the progression for the rest of the year. What we're going to do to try to help workers, parents, and everyone else that's going to be affected by what the existing governor's order is.
I'm Attorney Sean Louise, and together with Michael J. Green and Kristen Kokara, we're going to represent the plaintiffs in a class action against the governor's vaccine. Different aspects of the vaccine mandate that violate our clients' right to autonomy in their personal health care decisions, to decide what is best for them, what is best for their families, and they're being deprived of that right in violation of the First, the Fourth, the Fifth, the 14th Amendments, the Civil Rights Act of 1871, 42 U.S.C. Section 1983.
My name is Kaimi Pelekai. I'm a fire captain with the Honolulu Fire Department. I've been a fireman for 20 years. My father was a fireman for 37. Governor Ige's mandate was interpreted by our mayor to mean if you didn't put an experimental drug in your body that you don't have enough information about to make an informed decision, or you didn't get an approved religious or medical exemption, in the next 10 days, it literally said you could be fired. I spent the last 20 years of my life and 37 years watching my dad do this job. And because I didn't want to put an experimental drug in my body, I got to give that all up. I got to choose between my personal freedom and I'm talking not just talking about me, but people who are first responders like me, who love our jobs, who love the people of Honolulu so much. We leave our families every day willing to sacrifice our lives for them. That's how much we love this city and the people of this city. I leave my family every day knowing I might not come home. And I gladly do it with a smile on my face because that's who I am. That's who every one of us is. Every firefighter, every policeman, every paramedic, every EMT, every lifeguard. We run in when everybody's running out. We jump in front of the bullets when they're being fired. We swim into the 40-foot waves. And I have to choose between that career that I've committed to or putting an experimental drug that I don't know what it's going to do to me in my body, or I got to give all that up. And I know the people of Honolulu, I know, you know, it's not your guys' fault. You're not doing this to us. And you don't have to worry. We're going to show up every day. If they're going to fire us, they're going to fire us. And that's up to them. But we'll be there for you. We're going to be at work, don't worry. If we're not there, it's because of them. It's because of the mayor. It's because of the governor. We want to be there. We signed up for this. This is what we want to do with the rest of our lives. We want to run in. We want to stop the bullet. We want to swim into the 40-foot waves to save your lives. That's what we want. That's what we want it to be. And if we're not there on the 16th, you can call Mayor Blangiardi and thank him.
These selfless servants go day in and day out and serve the community, and they're just asking for the chance to choose. Everyone, it's a personal, autonomous healthcare decision, and everyone should make their own choice whether or not they want to take a vaccine or not. It should never be ordered by the government against someone's wishes. And the only reason they got the emergency use authorization to even have this vaccine is because it was agreed that it would be voluntary in accordance with federal law. And our state and local government needs to obey the federal law, they need to honor the federal law, and they need to honor all of these 1,200 first responders and let them have the right to choose.
You heard from one of the bravest souls we have. Everybody knows what firefighters do. You know what police officers do. The same broken hearts are coming from parents of children who lost their lives after they got this vaccine. A mother calls me because her son said, "Give me the vaccine, Mom. I have to wrestle in my last year at school so I can go on to college." He wound up in the coronary unit the next couple of days. What you're hearing from this firefighter echoes for people across this state. We don't believe that the governor's a horrible guy or the mayor. They just don't know what. They're responding from fear and anxiety, and they're getting information that's the wrong information. The studies that have been done around this country give them a choice. The safest way is testing. And don't punish them by making them pay for it themselves. They've stopped programs at schools right now. They're going to stop all extracurricular activities. That's how kids grow. That's how they are nurtured. And it's outdoor activities they're stopping. The legitimate concerns about what you're sticking in people's bodies. And we have deaths all over the country. And we can show they were intentionally underreported, the number of deaths. There are other injunction relief sought not to give anybody under 18 this vaccination. Anyone that's had the COVID before, they already have antibodies, they shouldn't get it. And anyone else they want to give it to should have an understanding about what they're getting. They can make an informed decision as to what you want to stick in their bodies. There are legitimate concerns throughout the state and throughout the country.
I work in a red area, in an urban area in Honolulu, where the majority of COVID cases that we pick up come from. I have not yet had COVID. Everything he laid out has prevented me to this day from catching it. I'm the captain. I walk into these. I've treated COVID patients. Many. In the red area. I never catch COVID. So we got things in place. You don't have to have the vaccine to keep people safe. I never had COVID this whole time, guys. So to say to me, the only way to stay safe from it is taking this experimental drug is just not true. I'm right there looking at a COVID patient, having difficulty breathing, squeezing the bag mask on their face, trying to give them air. I never catch COVID. So your chances of getting and dying from COVID as being a healthy person is real small. I'm healthy. Seeing that person who is older, maybe has a compromised immune system, for them to get the vaccine is their decision. And it might help them because they have medical problems that might indicate them taking it. I'm a healthy young person, as you can see by my hair. You know? So the decision for me is a private decision. It's not anybody else's, it's mine. I know my body, my doctor does. So whether I take it or not, it's a private decision.
You believe that getting the vaccine prevents you from getting the disease. That's not true. It doesn't mean that getting the vaccination doesn't mean you're not going to get it. But there's a way of checking, a testing method. And while they're telling you to take it, they don't even know what it does to your body. It's killing people all over the country. So just getting the vaccine is a knee-jerk reaction because people in government right now are scared to death and they don't know what to do about it. That's what they're doing. But people have their own rights to their body and their health and their families. So we're going to let some judges at some place decide, and I'm hoping that cooler heads will prevail and government here can understand that there's a way of everyone being safe, but not by threatening to fire people, put them out of jobs because they won't do what they want them to do, which is not a proven safety of not getting this disease. I am convinced this governor, these mayors want the best thing in the world for the people of Hawaii. But the fear that they obviously have and their knee-jerk reaction to what the remedy is, I just can't fathom being told one day you have 10 days to do what we tell you to do, or you're out. You're fired. I mean, it's you saw the reaction of this captain. And he speaks, I can guarantee you, for thousands of people.
You know, the CDC, Dr. Fauci, has made it clear that asymptomatic spread is the least likely way that this spreads. And if these 1,200 heroes don't have any symptoms of COVID-19, they shouldn't have to get a test every single week or twice a week. There's a much better way to do that with reason and common sense within the science, and they can have an initial screening set up that if you have a fever, you have a cough, you have a runny nose, you have other symptoms of COVID-19, then they can send you to a secondary screen, and you can go through your quarantine, you go through your testing until they know whether or not you're infected. But there's much less intrusive tests. There's a saliva test that can be equally effective in detecting whether or not there's an issue with them if they show any symptoms. But there should be an initial screening to determine whether testing even needs to be done, because just doing it to 1,200 individuals once or twice a week when it's unnecessary and subjecting them to a medical procedure with no symptoms it just defies common sense and the science.
People are terrified about this vaccine and what it does and what it could do to their families and themselves, aside from religious reasons or physical reasons. So now, you know what? You don't like the gifts? Now let me show you what we're going to do to you. We offered you the carrot. Now you do get the stick. Now you do get it. You want to feed your family? You want to be able to get groceries at Safeway? You know, this is the heavy-handedness that we're now seeing is shocking to the conscience, for Hawaii especially. And you know, there's got to be a voice. And it's like I said, this could be the most important time in my life as a lawyer, and I know my colleagues feel the same way. I mean, there has to be a voice for the people that don't know where to go or where to turn. And like I said, we'll do everything we can.
So any drug you're taking from your doctor, it takes 12 years for them to say it's okay for you to take it. But they let me shoot this drug that isn't been around for even a year yet in my body? So exactly, risk assessment, risk to reward. Somebody who's old, somebody who's sick, maybe their reward for taking something that's only been around for 6 months is good, because they get more chance of dying from the COVID and dying from the experimental drug. But somebody who's healthy, why take the risk? Because we don't know what the reward is. They never do this for 12 years. 6 months only. Risk, reward. Exactly. We assess the scene. We figure out what the safety, how we got to protect ourselves to go into an environment that can hurt us. And right now with this vaccine, it would be defensive position, stay out, nobody go in. Because we don't know. We have no idea how the thing's going to hurt us. We would surround and drown if this was on fire. We would never send anybody in there with the kind of information we get about the vaccine. Because somebody could die, because you don't have enough information to make a good risk assessment.
And there's alternative treatments. There's hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin. There's alternatives that could be approved. And there's no reason just to force this has only been approved under emergency use authorization. And the federal government cannot order you to take this because its approval is conditioned on being a purely voluntary medical product to take. So everyone should be able to have that own freedom, their personal choice, their personal autonomy to choose whether or not they want something that was only approved under an Emergency Use Act. And if the federal government cannot do it, then my client, as a citizen of not only Hawaii but also of the United States, the federal government, if the federal government cannot mandate the vaccine, then neither can the state and local government, because they're bound by the 14th Amendment in the Civil Rights Act of 1871 to honor that.
What is being done now is pitting people against each other. I mean, almost to the point of violence, where you have nurses looking at other nurses, outraged that they didn't take the vaccine. You have parents of kids who have been vaccinated, that's what the parent decided, sitting next to a kid who has not been because they have religious reasons not to, or an absolute fear that they don't want their son or daughter to be one of those 45,000 that died from it. You've got people that the animus towards each other now, because government cannot get together and understand what's in the best interest of people that's well-reasoned. It's tearing our community apart. It's torn our mayors apart in this sense. They can't agree. And they're making billions a month.